joining us right now is one of my favorite people on the planet. And I just said, you know what? I want to talk to this man. I want to hear what he's got to say. I want to talk about the Las Vegas Raiders. I want to talk football, college, and pro, and just see what is going on with a Hall of Famer and Hall of Fame broadcaster and the managing editor of VSiN, his boys in the desert. He is none other than Brent Musburger. How are you, Brent?
Hey, I am great, Rich. What a month.
Right.
I just listened to you run down the things that are going on. Yeah, obviously, because of the pandemic, we've never had an October like this to remember. But, last night, Rich, obviously I watched every snap because the Raiders play the Jets on the road, and they've got the two games against Denver in the AFC West. And I'm listening to a lot of people, two terrible teams, blah, blah. That was an A-plus entertainment show last night.
Yes, it was. I agree.
I mean, listen, mistakes, okay, we got it. I have to tell you a funny little betting story because I had a position on the under going into the game, and I thought, I'm in trouble. And I thought early. So I took the Broncos in the second half, and Brett Rippon, my favorite quarterback most recently out of Boise State, chucks up that pick six, and I'm thinking this may wind up being a bad night. But then how about that lead? Rich, have you ever seen a quarterback get out in front of a running back like Rippon did, and actually he impeded the final defensive player who had a chance to take Gordon down? I thoroughly enjoyed the game, I have to say.
Yeah, Brent.
So are you saying you were overjoyed? Is that what you're saying?
I was overjoyed, lad.
That's right. National treasure, Brent Musburger here on the Rich Eisen Show. You've got a great game coming up on Sunday in front of you, man. I love this game, Bills, Raiders, and there's going to be a ton of talented players on the field. I give you the floor on how you think this might play out with the 3-0 Bills and Josh Allen bringing his MVP first 3 weeks of play into Vegas, sir.
Yeah, Josh, as you know, has been spectacular. The AFC Player of the Month, and the third, I think it was third down and 21 against the Rams when he was trying to bring him from behind, and the Rams put the shutdown corner over on the best receiver, so we found Beasley and hit him for the first down, kept going, then got the win. And the Raider defense was not at its best against the New England Patriots, to say the least. Bill Belichick with a power running game ran all over them. The Raiders will have their hands full. I got to tell you a funny story, though, because the Monday night game that people watched and the Raiders upset the New Orleans Saints was the weirdest situation I've ever found myself in, because I'm calling the road games remotely. I want to point that out from our radio booth in Allegiant, and having a $2 billion stadium all to myself for a couple of games, along with analyst Lincoln Kennedy, and they cater us at halftime, just hasn't been a bad deal.
Sure.
As long as they're going to socially distance, give me a $2 billion brand new stadium. But anyway,
yes,
so the Saints come to town. Now I really miss the crowd. I'm looking down at the field, okay? Now, when you're watching at home, as we were last night, the crowd noise is pumped in by the Fox broadcast crew who's doing it on the NFL network, and so you get that little background noise. I don't get that in my headset, so I'm getting chatter down on the side. I have to tell you, I love Mr. John Gruden. He's one of my favorite guys in the NFL. I didn't know they officiated every play in the NFL. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I heard that chatter down there. I mean, he was helping them all out. Okay, whether it was a first down, a bad mark, bad spot, that's got to be interference. That's not. And it kind of threw me off my game. I hadn't heard that chatter quite like that before. But it'll be all hands on deck for this game against the Bills. The Bills will come in here a slight favorite. The public in Las Vegas loves to back the home team, as they did the Vegas Golden Knights. They'll do it with the Raiders. But there's an injury situation, Rich, we should point out, will really impact the Raiders this week. They're going to be without Edwards and Ruggs. They're two fine rookie wide receivers. And I doubt that Aguilar and Renfro and Zay Jones, who used to be a Bill, I doubt that puts fear in the heart of the secondary of the Buffalo Bills. So the Raiders obviously will have to keep Josh Allen off the field. That means a steady diet of Josh Jacobs. And there again, the Raiders have got injury problems. We've got a rookie at left guard, and we're still trying to get Trent Brown back onto the field over there at the right tackle spot. Now, having said that, John Gruden is extremely creative. He's got Waller, Moreau, and Witten as his tight ends, and occasionally he'll sneak in Carrier. And he is one of the most creative coaches I've ever been around when it comes to using 2 and 3 tight ends and then having rub plays and even use Waller even winds up. Because Waller is maybe the fastest tight end in the NFL. I want to be careful because I don't know the speed of all of them, but he certainly is in our division. Not as powerful as Kelsey over there at Kansas City, but Waller can flat out move. And so the Raiders will go to a multiplicity of looks. Bill Belichick, oh my goodness, Belichick. Unbelievable what he did. He took Waller away. He's famous for taking away what you do best, and he took Waller away last Sunday. And now Belichick and the Patriots go play those Kansas City Chiefs.
That's going to be
kind
great.
Of interesting. The Patriots are catching 7 points here in Vegas, Rich. Belichick was hired back in 2000. The Patriots have been an underdog 7 or more times under Belichick, 11 different times, 7 or more dog, 9-2 ATS. So beware, Mr. Belichick. I know Kansas City impressed everybody with that great performance at Baltimore, but Mr. Belichick can be lethal in situations like that. And so we shall see.
The great Brent Musburger here on the Rich Eisen Show, and you know, giving us the breakdown on the Raiders and the Bills, and then the Patriots and the Chiefs. That's dynamite. I do want to give you the floor though on the conversation that has been, nationally discussed, and or is discussed to the disgust of New Orleans. You've seen a lot of football, Brent. What did you see with Drew Brees that night on Monday Night Football? Did you see a guy didn't want to go down the field, couldn't go down the field, or just decided to take what he would get to try and beat the team that was in front of him? What do you make of that conversation?
I followed Drew Brees. I did a lot of his games at Purdue. And just a terrific person. I think that the charitable contributions that he and his wife have done. I was never around a university where someone gave back on his rookie contract quite like Drew Brees did with Purdue. So I stand second to nobody in my admiration for Drew. But at the age of 41, there has been, in what I think is deterioration in the arm strength, which is nobody beats Father Time. We all understand that cliche. He was without Michael Thomas, in all fairness, who is his best deep receiver. And hopefully the Saints will have him back down this week. Now, they were down 2 touchdowns in the second half, and I can't remember how many plays, but it looked like Drew Brees took him down the field in a matter of minutes. The misunderstanding about check down by analysts, except those coaches who are there, if you hit a receiver in flight and he's got daylight in front of him, he can take a 7-yard check down into a 22, 23-yard gain, okay? They did not do that, okay? Drew was off just a little bit on a couple of his throws. I know one time I even commented on it. He was running a sideline route, and he threw way away from his receiver. He was definitely off his game, and we shall see, because I do want to point out to everybody, we used to call Reggie Jackson, okay, Mr. October, all right? Well, I will tell you right now, beware the New Orleans Saints in the month of October. The Saints have covered their last 17 straight October games dating back to 2015. And, oh, by the way, they're 16-1 straight up during that period in the month of October. So, Mr. October, that's the entire team down there in New Orleans. But, Rich, to answer your question, there is no doubt, as he grows older, the arm is not quite like it used to be, and that is certainly understandable. If you look at Tom Brady through the years with the Patriots under Josh McDaniel and Coach Belichick, that crossing guy, whether it was Gronkowski or Edelman, where he only had to throw the ball about 10 yards, but he hit those receivers in flight, okay, and they took off from there. So we shall see. I thought the Saints, honestly, I didn't approve of the play calling by the coach. I'm a second guesser like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were a little bit all over the place against the Raiders. And I didn't understand why he suddenly took an extra point off the board and decided to go for two, and then another penalty that was taken off. I thought that pissed the Raiders off when they did that. It took about 5 minutes for that whole scene to unfold. I didn't think Coach was at his best over on the Saints sideline in that game. So let's see what happens. They go to Detroit. And give it a little bit over the field goal. Lions coming off a very impressive win last week, so we'll see what happens with the Saints.
Who was your preseason prediction for the Super Bowl? How's that holding up 3+ weeks in?
Well, I took the AFC. They were -2.5, and I thought, okay, I've got the Chiefs, but I've also got the Ravens in my hip pocket, and I thought those were the two most powerful teams in football coming in. So I'm sitting with that. I did check it yesterday, and the AFC is now a 4-point favorite to win the Super Bowl. So we will see. I think that the NFC is a jump ball. Obviously, the Green Bay Packers have been very, very impressive, but I noticed a story breaking late last night. I want to check if the Lazard could be out.
He is.
I thought that he and Rodgers were forming a good complement when they didn't have Adams out on the field. I don't understand what the Packers were thinking of in the first round of the draft. There were so many quality receivers out there.
I know.
I said, what are you thinking of? I mean, you're not the future. I mean, don't even think about that. Rodgers not going anywhere for a few years. So I thought they botched the draft going forward, and now we'll see if they get a little shorthanded. They've got to have Devontae Adams back. But the Falcons. They just can't get out of their way. Who can figure the way they've blown the last couple of games? I want to say one thing about that onside kick.
Yeah.
One of the things that some of the people have overlooked, that kick that was spinning was toward the Dallas sideline. Now, you and I both know there were at least 3 players over the LA. Don't touch it. Has to go 10 yards. You could have never pulled that onside kick off if you had gone toward the Falcons sideline. I thought it was one of the most creative plays that I've seen in a long time. Of course, Coach Fossil, young Fossil, who was with the Rams, did a great job over there. He brought Zerline with him to the Dallas Cowboys. So for me, he was a coach of the month in helping pull off that comeback. But the Falcons will have their hands full, believe me, in Green Bay the way Mr. Rodgers has started out the season. So I really don't have a pick in the NFC. I'll listen to anybody and what they think. But what I saw Monday night, Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be very hard to deal with come next February.
No doubt about it, because that kid is so damn special at quarterback, and that playbook is so perfectly scripted for him, and then his way to be unscripted and the talent around him, it is just a perfect setup, and it is ready to roll. That said, in the NFC, maybe, just maybe, if the Seahawks start tightening the bolts defensively, the way that Russell Wilson is playing, he's playing out of his mind right now. And I don't know. This could be Seattle's year out of the NFC too, Brent, if you think about it.
Very good point, Rich. Very, very good point. Let me go back in time with Russell Wilson when he came to Wisconsin as his graduate year. And I covered the Badgers were a good football team, and I covered several of his games, and we had several long meetings with Russell Wilson. I loved his game, and he was a baseball player, and North Carolina State didn't want him to go to the Colorado Rockies minor league program that one spring, and they changed quarterbacks and went to somebody else, and so he transferred. I have to tell you that he was the most impressive college quarterback in terms of the NFL that I covered was Peyton Manning, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Stayed his senior year, was everything you'd want. The second would be Andrew Luck, okay? I knew that he would be a success at it. But I got to tell you, the third best college quarterback that I was around looking forward to the NFL was Russell Wilson. And I suspect because of his size. But when you have a quarterback, and this goes to Mahomes also, when you have a quarterback who is also a good baseball player, all right, not necessarily a pitcher. Remember, Russell was playing second base for the Rocky. You throw the ball at different angles. You come across, and when you look at the velocity and the accuracy of his throws when he has to drop them down and the space that Russell finds, he and Mahomes are outstanding. I've never seen, but remember, Mahomes was around baseball a lot because his dad, he was in Major League Baseball locker rooms. He would go out into the outfield. He would shag flies as a little boy. He was around that game. Now, I did not cover Patrick Mahomes in college. I'm not sure that I did one Texas Tech game, but I did a lot of Wisconsin games, and I loved Russell Wilson. He was accurate downfield. He knows, as a little guy, he knows how to move for daylight. He knows how to find it, and he's a great runner. He's very courageous. His father, what a lot of people don't realize, his father went to the San Diego Chargers' final cut one year as a wide receiver and was turned loose. They offered him a spot on the practice squad, and he said, "No, I'm going to go home with my family." He then came back to the East, and he insisted that Russell Wilson go to good private schools. Russ got a great education. Talking to him, I always enjoyed it very, very much. But he is very smart. Winning quarterbacks in the NFL. Judgment. That's your first thing that you've got to do, okay? And it speaks to both Mahomes, and I don't know him. I was around his father, actually, a couple of times, kind of a middle relief pitcher for a while when I was around him. But the intelligence that these quarterbacks have to have, they have to make such split decisions, and you must throw accurately in the NFL. John Elway told me, and I think I've told you before, when I asked him the biggest difference in college and the NFL, he said, the field is so much smaller in the NFL, and that speaks to the kind of athletes and the speed that you're up against. But you're absolutely right. I do not want to overlook Russell Wilson, but they must improve that defense going forward before the playoffs.
Brent, I could literally talk to you all day. I want to talk to you all day. I wish I could talk to you all day. But my gosh, I just love our chats. I love when you come on this show. I love the fact that you say yes. I love the fact that I think of you literally every time I take the chair of NFL Game Day morning, knowing that if it wasn't for you, shows like that would not exist. And I thank you for that. I thank you for everything.
I appreciate it.
It's a fact.
You guys do a great job over there.
Thank you.
The NFL Network. Listen. I wake up to you guys. I look forward to Sunday morning. I always got my little iPad down there in the booth, living in my $2 billion stadium and watching the Rich Eisen and the guy. Okay, listen, guys, have a great weekend.
You take care of yourself, Brent. Be safe. We'll listen for your call. Raiders and Bills. The VSiN managing editor and Hall of Famer Brent Musburger here on the Rich Eisen Show.